Yeah, you guys are delayed by like 10 seconds or more. 'Tis weird. 'Tis weird. Also, y'all are hype on some form of acid tonight. Welcome. I'll bring the screen up in just a sec. I hope you're all doing well. Alrighty. We have screen. No, I do not want to open up some artsy program. Thank you. Anyway, we have Witch with no shirt because she needs shirt, but we're gonna do some testies with her face, her beautiful face. Beautiful face. Gorgeous face. I need to turn down this music. It's going to drive me insane. There we are. It's always about to drive me insane by the time I start the stream. Let's get her stupid audio in here that I probably need to remake. What? There we are. Probably starts a little too early. There's so many questions. Yeah, I was in choir when I was young. Very young. Yes, she is cute. We're animating a tiny bit of audio from editing. Animating. I don't know what I said anymore. We're animating a tiny bit the audio from Star versus the Forces of Evil. I don't watch that show. I don't really care for the show. But I like Eclipsa, and I like the few lines that she has that are interesting. I just needed something that wouldn't look totally obscure when I'm animating it on her face, so... Excuse me, I wanted something with some acting potential, so let's take a listen.
I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it.
Let me think here.
But for the record,
I didn't play all of it even.
I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evilest spells and never even made it into the final draft. Writing is rewriting, you know.
Anyhow. I kind of think that Eclipse is really one of the few worthwhile characters in Star, to be honest, but that's just me. It's unfair since I don't like the show at all. Well, not at all, but I just don't really like the show. Oh, there's so many options. I mean, I love it. What is Hachun? Ah! Quam. That's too calm. Doubt. I haven't done this in so long. Oh my god. Oh, that's physically pushing it down. We gotta do a simple lip sync and then we get fancy. Not regret. I didn't make it. I mean, I chose her parts. My wife put her together. And she's not finished. She has no shirt. I don't like using whatever the heck I use there for that.
But for the
Where is the frown, since it's ticking me off? Yeesh. Sorry, I'm just a little quiet. I is sleepy tired. More sleepy tired than I thought. And I kind of just wanted to buckle down and really work. So, I mean, I'll interact with chat if there's something to interact about. But y'all are just kind of being random for the most part. I mean, like, some of you being sweeties and I just can't, like, respond to every single comment where someone's being a sweetie. So I let it be known that I appreciate you. But, like, I don't know. Fucking... I don't know, maybe I should be a better person to start conversation starters. I don't fucking know.
But for the record,
I know how to speak good, definitely. Yep. See, if I start talking about movies, then I'm just gonna get angry.
but for the record,
And I love talking about movies.
for the for the record. Oh, but for the record. For the record. But for the record. Oh, but for the record. For the record. But for the record. But for the But for the record, I never record.
So, there are no sequels other than the first Jurassic World. Nothing else exists. Okay, there's just Jurassic Park and then Jurassic World, and that's it. And honestly, me saying that is giving Jurassic World too much credit, but, you know, it's better than the sequel to Jurassic World. So, and Jurassic Park never got a good sequel. Even decent sequel other than Jurassic World. So there's only Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. There's nothing else.
But for the record, I never called.
Who are you asking? No, I'm not excited about a sequel, let alone a second sequel. I'll be happy to see Toothless again, but I'm not going to pay money to see that fucking film.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter.
They already... Oh my god. It looks like... Oh my god. It looks like a piece of shit. That film looks like a piece of shit. Okay, I'm sorry. The third one, it's going to be a piece of shit. Absolute garbage. I didn't say anything about the animation. I said the film looks bad. That doesn't necessarily mean the animation is bad. I mean, it as a whole, as a film, it's going to be garbage.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chap. But for the record, I never called it.
I don't care. They can kill all the characters for all I give a shit. At this point, really. I'm not, like, acknowledging anything that's going on in that film.
For the record, I never called it the evil. But for the record, I never called it the evil chap. Yeah, I never. Yeah, I never. But for the record, I never called it the evil.
Yeah.
But for the record, I never called it the evil. But for the record, I never called it the evil. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter.
3D. Dodger, do you want out of this room? Okay, bye-bye, Dodger. Freedom for the baby. The baby wanted freedom, so the baby got freedom. What do you mean classics from the... What the What classics are you talking about? Classics? Classics of what? I hope you're not talking about animated films. I mean, there's some, but not classics. Jesus. What are we talking about here? We gotta get our hens together before we start talking. Normal. Okay, so, yet again, don't know what actual classics came out in the 80s, because the 80s, although every era, every decade has its set of good films, the 80s was not riddled with good movies. Okay? Yet again, if I were looking for classic films, I would never look for the 80s. I would look hesitantly at the 70s, a bit better towards the 60s, a lot towards the 50s, and a good chunk towards the 40s. So, still, don't know what we're talking about. None is the answer. I can't think of, like, a single, like, live-action 80s film that comes in my mind as, like, oh, yes, classic. It's like, I'm sure there are a couple, but certainly none that I have any real attachment to.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter.
Jesus, I'm having so much trouble.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter.
Akira is a famous old school anime film that is phenomenal animation. Absolutely phenomenal. And also, where did that come from? Did someone say something about it, since I definitely didn't see anyone say anything about it? You just gotta look it up, man. You just gotta watch it. It's a good movie. And with films like that, although technically they are anime, it feels very strange calling some of these incredible animated features just anime, because anime seems to have a negative connotation at this point when it comes to the animation quality that the shows have. So, you know, like, if someone went up to me and asked me, oh, what's your favorite movie? It's like, Spirited Away. I wouldn't say, like, oh yeah, it's anime. Spirit. I would never call it anime. Although I know, technically speaking, if you're just going by the definition, it's an animation that comes out of Japan, so I get it. I'm not saying that someone's wrong by saying that. It's just, I personally don't like to use it to define some features.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. The evil chapter.
Now listen here, my lovely friend. We cannot lump Disney Pixar together. We can never do that, because they are two separate entities. Although Disney owns Pixar, they are two separate entities that make two totally different kinds of products. And at this point, I'm kind of sick of all of them. So, they make me angry. They're all making me kind of angry right now. Every single one of them. Especially because DreamWorks got bought out. Disney hasn't made a film that I've liked in almost a decade. And Pixar They're still coming out with the, you know, good ones here and there, but they don't have the consistency anymore.
But for the record, I never
So Pixar's, if I had to choose between the three, friggin', I guess I'd choose Pixar. I guess. But now John Lasseter's a fucking asshole, and he needs to leave, and he better be leaving. And so I actually don't know where the studio is going to go from there, because he was such an amazing storyteller. And, you know, the head of Pixar, Lord knows what's going to happen to the company now. That's a can of worms, man. That's a can of worms.
But for the record,
yeah, DreamWorks got bought out by, Comcast.
but for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter.
Do I like Steven Universe? Yes! I adore it. It's my favorite daytime television show, I believe. What about The Incredibles 2? Look, it's good. It's a good movie. I will never say anything more than that in terms of the film as a whole. There are certain elements in that film that excelled. Certain elements that I knew that they would do well because they did it well last time, such as writing the family dynamic. I liked the issues that they tackled. But at the end of the day, it didn't live up to the first one in any way, shape, or form. Mostly because they had a freaking subpar, average, generic, boring-ass, predictable villain. So that's pretty unforgivable. Listen, I like the show. There hasn't been anything that the show has thrown at me that I haven't liked yet, so you can probably take my reaction from there. I don't know who the fuck's criticizing you for not liking Frozen, but they can eat their own ass. Listen, it's yet again, gorgeous film. Let me be perfectly clear. From any of these films, from DreamWorks, Pixar, Disney, they're gorgeous. There's nothing. I'm not criticizing the animation. Let me be 1000% clear there. I can give Frozen the fact that it was a amazingly beautiful animated picture, but it wasn't a good movie. It's like these are separate things. And honestly, it wasn't even that. It wasn't bad. There's nothing. There's nothing objectionable. There's nothing like standout horrible about Frozen. It just has some issues when it comes to characters and a couple story issues. But other than that, they're honestly minor fixes that would make that film great, I feel like. But they're kind of glaring issues. Sorry, I've kind of slowed down because I'm getting angry about animation, so it's stopping me from animating. That was your people's name for it.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record,
ooh, excuse me.
I never called it the evil chapter.
That was your people's name for it. Oh my god. And now, actually, to go back to touch upon something that you said, so Pixar, at least so far, we're gonna see what happens once John Lasseter is out of the picture because he's an ass. I don't think that they lost their touch. Most of the bad things they produced aside from The Good Dinosaur, which was, and Brave, which I feel are both kind of inexcusable. The Good Dinosaur, much more than Brave. I'm not saying that they're on the same level of bad at all, but I don't... Jesus Christ, they both went through major production hell. Outside of those, and the Cars films that have been forced down their throat by Disney, their films are so good. Yet again, there's nothing wrong, and I feel like it's unfair to hold them to the standard that they had before. You know, it's unheard of for a studio like that to have like 7 films in a row that were phenomenal, one after another. They just kept banging them out. And then, you know, then they get held to an unrealistic standard. And I still want to hold them to that, but I know the magic isn't always going to be there. It's not, most studios, even good studios, can't always do that. So I feel like it's unfair for me to be like, oh, you came out with another film, you didn't make another Inside Out. You know, even though I still don't feel like Inside Out hit me the same way that some of these others have, I still loved it, and I still would call it like that Pixar kind of touch. Of making a really good, critically acclaimed, profitable, phenomenally animated and innovative film. So it just kind of hits all the marks. Yeah. Don't watch The Good Dinosaur. Just don't. But anyhow, I'm just saying, like, they have a little bit of a pass just because I feel like they cannot be held to the standard that they were before. It's unfair to compare. At least in my mind. I'm not saying that you were, I'm just saying, like, I have before, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm being an asshole.
For the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name.
Jeez, stop it. Jeez. I have serious grudges against The Good Dinosaur.
That was your people.
Good job, then. Avoid it at all costs. You'll save 2 hours of your fucking life.
That was your...
Tiny mouth. Like, the French can come out with some really great animated films, man. There's a lot of great French animated films, aside from anything from Illumination, because I hate them, and they're a French studio, and I hate them. The thing is, I hate Dinosaur less than I hate The Good Dinosaur, because at least Dinosaur knew what the fuck it was, okay? It knew what the hell movie it was. The Good Dinosaur is just a clusterfuck, okay? There's no... If I had to pick which is the better film, Dinosaur's the better film, okay? The Good Dinosaur is in a freaking... the depths, okay? I would much rather sit through ugly-ass, horrible Dinosaur than sit through The Good Dinosaur. At the very least, Dinosaur had a score that was so good. The main theme. Like, the main theme was, like, ridiculously big and epic and good, and I was like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel like it goes with a crappy movie like this. At least I have some things to enjoy. Whereas in The Good Dinosaur, it's just, I'm annoyed from beginning to end. I'm angry.
That was your people's.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Don't do that. That's not an E. There we are.
That was your people's name. That was your people's name. That was your people's name. People's.
I'm not just saying the storyline was better in Dinosaur than The Good Dinosaur. I mean everything was better. Hell, even the freaking animation, because goddamn, at least there was some sort of consistency between the backgrounds and the characters in the foregrounds. Okay? Literally, in every aspect, Dinosaur is a better movie, a better constructed, made, produced, animated movie than The Good Dinosaur. It just is. Top to bottom. Oh my god. It is. I'm animating a clip from that, so that's what it is, don't worry.
That was your people's name for it. Your people.
You're not going crazy. I believe in you.
Your people's name for it.
I'm sorry, I get crazy just because of how much I hate The Good Dinosaur and how much it deserves to burn in the depths of hell.
That was your people's name for it.
Ah.
That was your people's
Bye.
name for it. That was your people's name for it. That was your people's name for it. was your people's name for it. I wrote... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evil... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evil spells that never even made it into the final draft. Writing is rewriting, you know. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty... But for the record, I...
You really can't wait for what I have next. Also, I'm not a master, but thank you. You really can't wait. Who's all here right now? 32 people. I'm thinking. Y'all, if some of y'all stick around a little bit longer, I might show you. I might show you some of what I'm gonna be working on.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it.
Oh no, I'm getting too excited. I mean, like, listen, for those of you who have kind of been regularly been showing up, you guys are going to be seeing much more than anybody else, okay? You know, these streams, like, at some point or another, they get, like, 1,000 views tops, absolute tops. So you are seeing stuff, you know, way before most people. Like, 99.9% of people. Which is why I'm kind of inclined to just show you what I'm working on and you have the inside scoop. I kind of wanted to show people my Discord first, but I feel like I sort of want to show it in stream really bad. I do. I want to show my storyboard really bad. Even though it's drawn horribly. I can't draw. Guys, I can't draw. Let it be known. I draw like a 12-year-old. 10-year-old even. So, sorry. Yes. You know what I'm talking about. I'm excited. Okay, anyhow.
I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote...
Because it's like, in the next couple streams, like, you guys are going to be seeing me working on it anyway, and you're going to be seeing bits of the storyboard anyway. You know, it's going to be out there. What I'm doing and what it'll be, but, you know, it's not really spoiling anything because, you know, at the end of the day, the product is going to be the product. The storyboard will not compare to what I'm actually making. So if that got around, it still doesn't matter. It was just something that I was trying to... No, dude, I'm not lying. I'm being totally and completely... You haven't even seen... Jesus. You have not seen the pain.
But for the record, I never called it. For the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's. But for the record, I.
Practice makes permanent, my friend. But when it comes to drawing and a proper mindset, then practice can make perfect. I've seen a lot of people practice at a lot of things and stay exactly the same because they refuse to have a critical mindset when they're looking at their own work. Why am I being such an asshole tonight? I'm like so critical right now of like everything everyone's saying. I'm like, no, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
But for the record, I. But for the record, I.
Hands are just hard, man.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record,
What is moving? Is it sadness? I'm sorry, sadness. Hands are very difficult. That's something that you do just have to like keep practicing.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. record, I never called. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it.
Yeah.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evilest hells and never even made it into the final draft. Writing is rewriting, you know. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote
I wonder why.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evilest hells and never even made it into...
Dude, that is totally up to total personal preference, who the fuck you're going out with, and who the fuck you are. Be yourself, yo. Be yourself. And if you feel you need to dress formal, dress formal. If you feel you need to dress a little more casual, dress a little more casual. Just don't walk out there with shit on your shirt, that's all.
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That
But
was
be
your
you.
people's name for it. I wrote plenty... But for the record... But for the record, I never called it. But for the record, I... I never called. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name. Chapter. That was your But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote... But for the record, I never... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote for the record, I never record. I never but for the record. I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I...
My baby. I almost forgot about her cute little tooth.
But for the...
I don't do all of it after, but I'm also not focusing on animating her right now. This is just a facials thing, so...
But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people.
Sometimes I just do little tests where I just want to focus on doing facials and lip sync and whatnot, and this is one of those. So I'm not really focusing on animating her right now.
But for the record,
I mean her body.
I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of But for the record, I never called it. But
I'm just focusing on eyes and all that good stuff. Oh yes, I love using the tongue when I can for lip sync. This model doesn't have that, unfortunately, but...
for the record, I never... But for the record, I... But for the record... But for the record, I... But for the record, I never called it. I never... Yeah, I never called it. Yeah, Lord. I... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evil. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote... For the record... I... Your people's name. Or your people. Or that was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record... For the record, I never called it the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote the evil chapter. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. It was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evilous spells that never even made it into the final draft. Writing is rewriting, you know. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evilous spells that never even made it into the final draft.
I'm thinking with my brain.
That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote...
Yes, she is super cute. Thank
but
you.
For the record, I never called... But for the record, I never called... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it.
She's a super cutie booty. And I can change the shape of her eyes.
your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. But for... That was your... Actually, the evil chapter. I never... Your people's name for it. I never called it the evil chapter. That was your... That was your people's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote... But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote... Or your people's name. People's name. For it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it.
Ugh.
That was your people's name. Or people's name. For it. People's name for it. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote but for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty. But for the record, I never called it the evil chapter. That was your people's name for it. I wrote plenty of evilest spells that never even made it into the final draft.
Writing is rewriting, you know. Ah, what a cute little... the thing is, like, I am 1 inch away from, like, loving Star vs. the Forces of Evil, but it's just... The entire thing is so awkwardly delivered, it's just not my cup of tea. I just really hate 99% of the line delivery. Eclipse is the only one that I can tolerate because she's kind of posh already. Same thing with Queen Moon, like, they're posh. And so, like, I can live with that kind of stick-up-your-butt kind of weird delivery. But with Star, like, no emotional nonsense gets through to me because the delivery is so fucking weird. It's so weird, and it's consistently weird. They always pick takes. And it is the direction. It is the vocal direction that's totally purposeful in the show, and it's just so strange to me. I can't stand it. It's not, I already said it's not my cup of tea. I'm gonna be right back, everybody. I'm gonna make a decision right now. Alrighty. Decision's been made. I saved this for the billionth time. Those of you who are here, I think you might be in for a treat. How many people are even in here right now? At least in chat. Not that many. Just the way I like it. So it's... I'll probably show this the next couple streams. You get to know the song that I'm going to be working with. You don't get to see the storyboard yet. If you join my Discord server, you might see it tonight. I might post it in there for people in the Discord server. And so, you know, pop in there and be a nice sweetie pie if you want to see something before everybody else does. Yeah. Yeah. Let me think. Excuse me. So yeah, you get to know the song that I'm going to be working on. You're going to see a little, like, text music video for it. Just because I like it and I feel like it better illustrates why I love the song. And it also gives you something to actually watch. Like, the original song just has a beautifully illustrated picture with it. It's by Millie. But, you know, since this is a stream, you might as well have something visual to watch with it, too. So it's nice. And, yeah, you sweetie babies, you get to know the song. And soon everybody will know the song. And then, soon enough, at least everyone who comes to streams will know about the storyboard, and in the Discord server will know about the storyboard. And then eventually the project will come out in a month or two, and then everyone will see it, and then everyone will see the storyboard, because I'll put up the storyboard. I'll do like a comparison with the storyboard at one point. So yeah, you guys are getting an early peek. Here we are. Go ahead and scientific witchery. Shut up, coffee music. This is better than you. I'm gonna set this up so I can see chat at the same time. Make sure this is nice and big. So now you know. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is amazing. This song has been in my life for quite a while. It's full of excite. Yes, there are witches. Oh, there's Millie right there commenting on this lovely person's video. Go listen to it. Go watch it. So, I will tell you now, the video that I have planned is me taking on interpreting the story that's in here, basically. And there's quite a story, and it's based in some very interesting shit. I did a lot of research into this before I started. I did a lot of research, and what I uncovered was lovely. And so I'm gonna put all sorts of hints. What are you doing? Get out! Leave! Leave. You're not welcome here. Anyhow, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I did a lot of research, and so I have my own interpretation that's very different than most music videos to the song that exist already. Oh, look, all that good mythical lore I'm watching, and Star and whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be different than any music video that exists for this already. Mostly in terms of how it's been interpreted. So, I'm excited, to say the least. You know what? I might leave the stream here. For those who are here, join the Discord. I might hang out in Discord chat for a little while, and I will be putting the storyboard in the Discord. So, if you want to see it, it's gonna be there. I love you all, and I'll probably just be hanging in the Discord chat. Probably. You all have a good night, man. Support Millie! Do it!